Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Great O'Clock, where you step into your greatness. And tonight we have a very special topic this evening that I am so super excited about. What we are talking about is the glory in your story. Absolutely. The importance of storytelling in your life and in your business for living the life that you want to live and achieving whatever it is that you want to achieve in this world. I guess, as I always do start with, I guess I need to introduce you guys to the big guy that's sitting up here talking to you all. If you all don't mind, would you all like to know a little bit about me before we get started? And I'll ask your permission before I just go ranting and raving about what I do. Okay. All right. My name is Gerald DuBose. My company is The New Wealth Order. What we do is we deal with people on two different levels. If you're an individual without a business, what we do is we help you avoid average and stop meddling with mediocre. That's what I like to say. We help you step into your greatness, live your greatest life. We do personal development and financial literacy training. We help people basically grow their wealth also. So that's the third portion of what we do. First, we deal with them individually on the personal development. Then we deal with the financial literacy, and then we deal with the wealth building strategies. If you are a business owner, what we do is we help entrepreneurs elevate their business by cultivating a winning culture and implementing value-driven sales and marketing strategies so that they can increase profitability. And that's what we do. That's who I am. Don't want to rant and rave about me too much. If you all are interested in anything else further or want to get in contact with me off of here, the way you can do that is thenewwealthorder.com, www. Which I hate saying because it's so redundant because everybody already knows that part. But I'll type it here in the box for you guys in case you want to reach me. It's thenewwealthorder.com. All right. The formalities are taken care of. Now let's get into the meat and potatoes. You're very welcome. Thank you, Adi. Yes, WW. Isn't it, Jackie? People kill me. Everybody does W. I heard a guy the other day. He went with HTTP. Who says that? Who talks about the HTTP? I was like, really? You don't think we understand that? But it was hilarious, and it's okay. Some people just are used to doing it, so they continue to do what they've always done. But anyway, tonight what we're talking about is the glory in your story, the importance of storytelling in your life and building your brand. My man Dwayne is in the house, exclusive brand. Awesome brother right there. So yeah, what we're talking about is the glory in your story. And the first thing I want to talk about with storytelling is how people usually minimize the importance of it in what it is they're doing, not realizing that people really buy people, and they want to buy from people that they at least understand or feel that can help them solve their problem. And in this world where everything is so inundated with 5,000 different versions of whatever it is, if you're a coach, it's 5 million coaches right now. Why do I want to be your client? If you're an auto mechanic, it's 30 auto shops on the same street. If you're a carpet cleaner. So people really buy why you are doing what you're doing and how you make them feel versus really what you're selling now. And that is where your story comes in. Your ability to tell that story and relay that information in a way that makes them feel connected to you is what separates you from the rest of the bunch and makes them want to deal with you rather than the person down the street. So I'm going to open up these seats in a minute. If you guys want, you can tell a little bird over there in the corner, tweet this out. We can have some more people in here, and we're going to have a very engaging type of conversation this evening. And yeah, I want to hear you guys' stories. I want to share some of mine, and let's talk about how we utilize it to grow our businesses. The importance of structure in your story is the first thing I would like to talk about. Now, everyone can tell a story, but everyone can't show a story. And I believe that's the difference between a good storyteller and somebody that compels you versus somebody that's just talking to you. And what I mean is so many people jump back and forth in their story, and this was happening and this was happening. Oh, and wait a minute. But before that happened, this happened. No, no. The story has to have continuity. You need to understand. You should structure the story in a manner so that it invites people to care about what's happening, care about what your situation was, and then when you deliver it, they can understand it. You know, a lot of people jump around in that story, and that makes it challenging for someone to follow, and secondly, to care. Hello, Karen. How are you? Welcome to the room. And finish it too before they start the next. Yes. Yes. People do that all the time. You know, they jump from story to story and then go back. It's so confusing. Structure. You need to structure your stories. It needs to have a flow. So, for example, I know some of you all know that I am a poet, and that was one of my first. That is my very first love. The first thing I ever fell in love with in this life was words, and it was something that is still very near and dear to me. So I'll just show an example, and I'll share a piece so we can just get this storytelling conversation going. And I'll ask the wonderful Jackie Bernardi to come up here and join me in a moment. But I'll share a poem with you guys. Well, with you ladies. There's mostly ladies in here, and that's cool with me. I got two of my brothers, so we're good. Let's see. Since there are ladies in here, fellas, I'm sorry, I'm going to go romance. Yes, I'm going to go romance, fellas. So that's the story I'm choosing to share right now. So let me think here. They say a bikini ain't a bikini unless you can pull it through a wedding ring. And I ain't never been excited about trading one for the other till I saw you in yours. And I was floored like laying in sand as I gazed from your legs to your hips to your eyes, and then looked immediately to your left as if I thought I could guess your ring size. Now, seriously, I was surprised to find that your ring finger was bare. I remember thinking, I don't know where this woman is from, but apparently they don't have no real men living there. And God knows I seen swimwear, but with legs like yours, it just ain't fair. And I'm not into hating on nobody, but when the body is yours, I just can't share. Now, see, they say when it's right, you hit it and quit it. But when it's perfect, you hit it and live it. And get with rings and tennis bracelets, go shopping for shoes, take cruise vacations. Even your smile becomes a call to action. So when I say your place or mine, I'm talking real estate transactions. U-Haul trucks and packing, and moving so swift that neither your neighbors nor your mailman even get the gist of what happened. And let's add traveling to make excuses for G-night fragrances, hair appointments, and waxing. Imagine dashing to fashion shows, lying on the beach with the Scrabble board. See, life is for the living, so I don't care about the dead relationships you've had before. You have to know this is majestic. If you're tired of your favorite skirt, let's address it. We can discuss our financial future till you feel truly vested. See, I want to be domesticated, like ordering Netflix on the PlayStation, intrigue you with my patience and promise to never leave you waiting. See, this is a swimsuit issue. I just met you and I already miss you. But I realize opportunities only knock. So how could I not stop, try and open up your heart, and at least stand at the windows of your soul until you finally give me permission to climb through? Because the sunrise ain't never been breathtaking till I finally saw the sunrise behind you. So that is probably why your wife blushes. Okay, well, thank you all. Yeah, so that is what we mean when we're talking about structure. I appreciate it. Thank you. So the story has to have a flow. It has to make you want to care what's happening and kind of invite people in to what it's about. And even when you're telling a regular story, you have to do the same thing, and you have to make it colorful, because life is colorful. You know, if you say, I walked down the street and I saw a bird, okay, that's not that interesting. If you give the colors and make it interesting, it was a breezy summer day. I could feel the humidity causing me to sweat. And as I walked down the street, I saw a beautiful blue jaybird that was just sitting there singing a song, and I was wondering what that bird was thinking. See, that's way more compelling than I was walking down the street, I saw a bird. See, you have to convey the story in the same manner of which you experienced it, and then other people experience it through you, which allows the connection, which is why you get trust, which is why people buy into what it is you are doing and why you are the person that they want to deal with. Now, if I can get the wonderful Jackie Bernardi to come up here and join me. Cool.
Hey, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes, we hear you very well.
Okay, good. You know what I got stuck on? That was beautiful. That was really fantastic. And part of my brain halfway or all the way through it was going, oh my God, are you doing this on the fly? Did you do that on the fly?
No, that is one I know very well. It's actually something written, but it's memorized, and it's a very important part of who I am. Hello, Marisha. Hello, Foodie. John's coming in. I see my family. Welcome to The Glory in Your Story. We're just talking about storytelling, the importance of it in how you convey and how it helps your business. So I wanted to bring up Jackie because Jackie is just phenomenal, and she is very colorful in her story. When she talks, it's just, you see colors when Jackie talks. So
well, that's awesome. Because
yes.
The other thing that I was going to tell you, and for those that are just coming in now, you really, really, really must watch the replay for the first 5 minutes, because Gerald just recited poetry, and it was really fantastic. But what I got stuck on was thinking about when the last time it would have been possible for me to pull a bikini through a wedding ring. Honestly, like, that doesn't apply anymore.
Oh my gosh. Well, I guarantee your husband's willing to try it.
Yeah.
I guarantee you that.
Well, wait till I tell him I was on Blab and they told me we had to pull my bikini through.
Absolutely. John, try to come up again.
Yeah, Cheval, come back.
It didn't come through. Try again. Hello, Ava Laura. Hello, Scott. Hello, Rachel. Rachel came in. Okay, great. Glad to see
wonderful.
Rachel.
Hi, everyone. So what was really interesting, Gerald, about that was the construct that you started with before you even started the poetry, and that was the importance of structure and storytelling.
Yes.
And it's kind of a key point. And when you look at, I think, storytelling academically, right, it all makes sense. If you're going to write it down, there's a beginning, a middle, an ending, and you just kind of go through and do it, right?
Absolutely.
I am absolutely given with doing the crazy pants. I'm all over the place. I try to dial it back in. Sometimes I'm really successful with it. Sometimes I'm not. So this is excellent. I'm wondering if somebody else wants to jump in the seat, because storytelling requires storing, right?
Yes.
People and all that.
Absolutely.
And I'd love to have your thought. Oh!
What happened?
Oh my gosh, are you there?
I'm here.
Hi. I don't know how this happened. I'm actually on another blab, but
Okay.
Oh my God. Hang on. Sorry, guys.
No, you know the notifications. The notifications get you when you're on the laptop.
Oh, I must have hit it by accident. Oh my God, this is such a fail.
Yeah,
Sorry,
you
everybody.
had my heart beating. I was like, okay, is Jackie okay? I'm like really ready to be on my way to California. Like, okay, what's happening?
I'm ridiculous. I'm sorry. Oh my God. Thank you so much, everybody. Yeah. Sorry about that. But that was very weird. I was actually in somebody else's blab and they said, hi, Jackie.
That happens a lot. If you're on your computer, those notifications, like I didn't turn on my notifications really until like last week, so I wasn't receiving anything. But now
Mm.
those notifications, if you're on the computer, if you accidentally touch it, you jump straight into another blab, but you still have the other blab going. So you'll hear like 5 people talking at the same time. It kind of freaks you out.
Yeah, a little bit. I don't know about you guys, but I'm having a tough time doing Blab on my phone. If I'm in like listen only mode, I can do it, but I want to comment and I want to star too much, and for me to, maneuver all that's kind of nuts. But anyway, that's not what we're talking about.
Absolutely. Go ahead. Yeah, the importance of structuring. It's vitally important of how you put the story together for it to have a natural type of flow that people can follow, because nothing is mechanic. You don't want it to I walk. It has to have a flow, and that's vitally important. A lot of people don't understand how to structure their story when they're telling it.
Right.
Even more so than when they're writing it. When they're writing it, like you said, it's kind of in their brain from, school. Okay, I'm supposed to have a beginning, a middle, and an end. But when they tell a story, it seems like the story's never going to end. We've all had people tell us a story like, man, okay, what is the point? Like, get to it already. So I believe structure is very important. So is there any?
Well, it is, but you know what? What's really interesting to me with like Periscope, especially, right? It's kind of like a disruptive storytelling. So you start telling a story, or you start talking about whatever it is that you're talking about on Periscope, and then people are coming on, and you're interrupting your story to address the people that are coming in, right? Which is, of course, a lovely and polite thing to do, but it can really sidetrack you way off your story, and then pulling it back for me is challenging.
Yes.
So I kind of I wish that there were an easier mechanism for me to acknowledge everybody in the comments during a blab, in the moment, that it was just because I love all of you, and I really wish some more of you would jump in, because that would be so much fun. But again, in blab, we don't do that as much as we do in Periscope. And so this kind of disruptive storytelling thing. See, and now it's happening.
Yeah. No, go ahead. I'm listening.
Sabrina, you captured us. Sabrina, do you want to jump on? Because that's amazing.
Well, here's John right here. John's coming back. Let's see if he makes it this time. He's jumping through cyberspace with us.
You're absolutely right, Sabrina. It is the squirrel factor.
Yeah, so John's still trying, but absolutely. So the second thing I would like to talk about as we wait on John is the importance of delivering your message. A lot of people are poor at emoting. They do very monotone stories, which kind of lull you to sleep. It's kind of like that's not how you experience life. Life isn't just one level. There are levels to everything. Now, there is an emotion of which the story happened or you felt happened to you. And I feel it's important that you convey it with that same type of thing. Hi, Jay Bird. How are you today? Awesome to see you. So your delivery is almost as important as your structure, because if your delivery is bad, the story is going to be bad. People don't like it if you don't sound like you even enjoy what you're talking about. So,
okay, so I've got a question for you then.
Okay.
But I'm going to be really honest here, because there's not that many people in the room right now.
That's okay.
But I consider myself, I think of myself as a terrible storyteller. And in fact, when you have a 16-year-old son, you are a terrible storyteller, because he's tuning you out, moments into it, which is never really good for your confidence.
Right.
But honestly, so part of my story is that I'm not a storyteller. Right. And so I don't think another part of my story is I don't think I'm very funny. Like I bought into the belief. Somebody once said to me, Libras aren't funny. I'm a Libra, so therefore I'm not funny. Right. And so this is part of my story that I actually believe. So the whole concept around like your blab today and a blab that I was on the other day that you were on also about storytelling is fascinating to me, because I feel like I'm coming from the penalty box in terms of storytelling. And I do have lots of stories, and I think they're very interesting. But I don't really lead with them because in the back, I'm thinking they're not nearly as interesting. They must not be nearly as interesting as I think they are. I don't know. It's just kind of an interesting thing. So there's this whole thing about storytelling where this is what you do. And then there's a whole thing about storytelling that is, this is what I am. And these are the limitations I have, self-imposed or otherwise, that prevent me maybe from getting my whole story out. So I may be all full of energy and vim and vigor, and I'm like pop rocks and all that stuff, which is awesome. But I don't really share my story so much. I share micro stories, but don't, so.
Right. Absolutely. So what is your question there? And let's see if we can work.
I don't know if it was a question. I think it's
just a comment.
More of a comment because it's interesting. We talk about this all the time, especially if you're doing business online. The best way to make connections and really, really deep connections that can either turn into friendships or business relationships or whatever is sharing that of you, the know, trust, like, right? Right. But if you're already predisposed to holding back on your stories because you think you don't deliver them well, right, it's kind of an interesting dilemma. Or maybe dilemma is too strong of a word, but.
Well, it is a bit of a dilemma because you want to share yourself with your audience. And it's important that they understand where you come from, because kind of like on the Blab the other day when I said that, you don't start. We all didn't start CEOs. None of us started as business owners. We all started from somewhere. And that part of that journey, or the twist and the turns and the challenges, is where people can find themselves within your story. And that draws the connection that makes them want to be part of that. That draws the resonation with them that, okay, this person gets me, I should work with them, versus finding someone else where they're like, okay, I don't know if this person really gets me, because they have nothing to relate to. So we have to make it relatable. And that's why telling some of what you've been through is vital in these businesses, especially nowadays. Teo, we don't see you, brother. All I see is darkness.
Maybe that's Teo's story tonight.
Yeah. I was going to say, and I'm used to being the darkest one in the room, so this is a little weird.
Teo's upstaging you for sure.
If you the darkest, brother, something's not right. I feel a little weird, but it's cool. Can you? I hear you moving, but I don't hear your voice yet either, though.
Not
Teo,
quite sure what's going on.
Yeah, Teo, I hear you.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out what's going on. Yeah, you guys carry on. I'll try and not be as black as you. As
Oh yes, for God's sake, don't be black.
Yeah. You look like the black hole over there, man. It's
yeah.
It's all right.
I'm telling you, I'm smiling and I'm showing my teeth, but nothing's working.
Well, obviously you have spinach in them because we're not seeing them.
Exactly. And somebody said you're being Darth Vader over there. It's okay though. All right. Why don't you go out, come back, and refresh, and that may fix the problem. So let's do that. All right.
So we want to see you, Teo.
All right. So anyway, so back to what we were talking about. Hey, James, nice to have you in. Is the delivery of your message. Now, you said your challenge has been in that, actually conveying what happened. So like, for example, and I know it's a little weird, tell me a little bit of your story. Tell me a little bit of what brought you to do what you do. Actually tell people. Yeah, because so that everybody can hear what the wonderful Jackie Bernardi does also. So
Patty's in the house too.
Oh, we got Patty.
Yep, we got Patty in the house. All right.
Yeah! It worked. Finally did. There we go.
Oh man. There is Patty.
The party started now.
Patty.
All right. Okay, so what we were talking about right now was basically we've already talked about the importance of structuring your message when you're telling your story, because a lot of people are bad with putting a story in order enough to convey it with confidence. And now we're talking about being able to deliver that story with a certain type of emotion so that people can connect with you, connect with what's happened, and make that decision that this may be the person I need to be part of their circle. So,
without being TMI or dirty laundry.
Yeah. See, sometimes though, now there are times and places that you can tell a lot about yourself, and then there are other places where you can only share a certain portion. Now that's all subjective and on what your mission is for your business. Now, depending on what your business is, but the wonderful Jackie Bernardi was actually about to tell us about herself.
So I just got off of something. I went, there was 2 different blabs, and then I looked over, so Jackie's face went, oh.
Right?
Everybody does that. When they speak Jackie, everybody's like, it's Jackie.
I'm going on Jackie's blab.
Oh my God, this is so crazy. I'm a little amped up on M&M, so
That's a good thing.
right?
Yes.
Okay, so here's how I could answer this more easily, maybe, because I am a little stunted or confidence-wise in telling my stories. But I will tell you one of my favorite stories about me, and that is the story that got me here to Southern California. I live in Newport Beach, California, and I moved here just a couple years after I graduated from college, and I didn't know anyone in California except one person. Right. And when I moved out here, it was 1993. And so it was 2 years after the Rodney King trial and fiasco and the whole bit. Okay. And I had been working in New York City. I got laid off from a job. I was working on Wall Street doing marketing there and got laid off. And I was like, well, I'm not going back to Syracuse, which is where I grew up. And I love Syracuse, but I didn't want to live in Syracuse. I wanted to, and so a friend of mine from college said to me, Jackie, you're so California. You got to go to California. And he lived in Simi Valley at the time. What's important about this is that's where the trial happened, the Rodney King trial.
Right.
And it was so upsetting to me. Everything about it was so upsetting to me. I was like, I'm not moving to Simi Valley. Like, that's not okay. So he said, well, where are you going to move to? And I said, I don't know, but I'm going to pack up my car and I'm going to do it. So I had this little car. I had a little 13-inch TV. Put all my clothes in the back of the car in this little 13-inch TV. And drove down to Miami, spent a week down there with some friends, and then drove across the country to California. Wow. And I did things on that trip that, like, as a parent now, I would have a complete stroke if my child did. I slept on a picnic table in Alabama on a truck stop highway, right?
Alabama, oh goodness.
Right? Crazy.
Wow.
This was the same week that Michael Jordan's father was murdered.
Oh, wow.
Right? So not same location.
Right, no, right. But the fact that on the highway.
And there was no internet, and I was driving across the country, so I didn't know. But, anyway. So I get to California, and I'm driving through Palm Springs. I don't know if any of you have been on the 10 from Palm Springs to Los Angeles, but it's disgusting, right? When you're coming into Palm Springs, all you see is the brown smog. It's desert. It's people like the desert, not me so much. But anyway, so I'm driving and all of a sudden these signs are starting to pop up and I've got to make a decision. Either I'm going to San Francisco, I'm going to Los Angeles, or I'm going to the beach cities. And I was like, Syracuse. Beach cities, of course, right?
Yeah.
So I just started, I had no idea where I was going to end up. I just followed the beach city signs. There was this Monday morning, it was like 7 in the morning, follow the signs. And all of a sudden I dump out into Costa Mesa, California, and I hit Pacific Coast Highway, which I had heard of.
Right.
And I said, okay, well, there's nothing around right here. Where do I go? So I headed south, right? So I headed south to Laguna Niguel. And I know there's a bunch of people here on Blab that live in that area, Laguna Niguel. And I saw these beautiful apartments and thing. I literally drove into the first one I found. I signed a lease and I started unloading my car. And this is at 9 o'clock in the morning. I had no furniture. I had nothing. I had one of the guys in the complex took the back seat of his Jeep out and gave it to me for a couple months so I'd have something to sit on and sleep on.
Wow.
Really?
Yeah. And I knew no one here.
That's
And I had
insane.
saved enough money when I worked in New York that I could just take some time off, and I did. I went to the beach every single day for 2 months. I read a book a day while I was at the beach, and it was amazing. But the thing about the story, and see, this is why I think I'm a terrible storyteller, because this is a very long story.
No. Go ahead.
But what I love about it, and what I think speaks about me through the story, is that I knew no one out here, and I will say this with confidence. I fearlessly did this. I just did it. Like, this could have failed in a million ways. I could have been a statistic. Anything could have happened. But it didn't. And then when I finally did decide to work, I got a great job. I met all sorts of neat people. You know, it was just...
Universe got your back.
Thank you, Gracie, for saying that. I really appreciate it. And I love the hashtag. I'm going to start using that. Go, Jackie.
Yes.
So, and honestly, it's a story that I've shared with my son because I want him to know that he can do like these things that seem crazy or impossible, or like, why on earth would you just leave everybody you know? And I didn't feel like I left everybody I knew. I felt like I was going to a whole bunch of people I didn't know, which is kind of like Blab, actually. Whoa.
Yes.
Full circle.
Full circle. Oh, we say at the same time.
Wait a minute. And you said you don't tell good stories? Look at that. See? Now,
Full circle.
see how you brought it all right back to one thing.
Yeah, I guess I did. Wow, I am quite good at storytelling.
Yes, you are.
Man.
See, now the only thing I would say is that you don't feel comfortable because you're very colorful and you didn't feel like it looked like you didn't feel like you had enough color in it, and you thinking about it. So versus thinking about it, just relay it. You know, because everybody can identify with that. You dropped everything to go after something you wanted, and you didn't care what other people thought. You didn't care what other people felt. You said, this is what I'm going to do. And everybody's trying to tell you, no, Jackie, don't go. And you're like, well, I know I don't know anybody there, but I will once I get there.
You followed your instinct. You had your internal compass. You followed your instinct, your compass.
And she believed in herself.
Kept you right. And the
You know what's
universe had
so
your back.
interesting though, Teo? I don't know that I actually believed in myself, but maybe I was just young enough to be clueless, and I was like I'm invincible, right? Like I'll never be able to do this again. I knew that. You know, you'd never just be able to pick up and take off again. So
right. One of the famous things that we tell people, well, I tell people, is that you were too unintelligent about what could happen to be concerned about failing. You know,
that's why I said the believe in. I know it doesn't look like believe in yourself, but it's like you just took a chance, which is braver than a lot of people do.
Exactly.
Okay, I like all of your takes on my story.
Honestly, it's wow. I wouldn't have the cojones to do that. I was like, no matter what the years I mean, I would not have gotten the cojones to do that. Like, wow.
Yeah, because again, and I'll just say this, you know, that one of the things about courage is not the absence of fear. It's just deciding something else is more important. It's not about you being scared. It's just about you deciding that I don't have time to be scared right now. I don't care. I got to go do this. And you felt moved and you felt compelled, and look what you've done. So had you not have done it, how many people could have suffered because you didn't step and do that?
Oh,
it's true. That is so true. That's so true. That is so true. Yep. It's so true. You've been given a disservice for those that really needed you to show up in the world. And so now you showed up.
Wow. Pastor Gerald.
Lord, here we go. Teo has never even heard that. He has never even heard that. And now he comes in with the Reverend thing. I don't know how I keep getting stuck with this Reverend title, but okay.
I love it. That reminds me, I need to tell a little bird all about the
I turned the little birdie.
What is your story, though, Gerald?
My story, and I got several, but what brought me to coaching was actually I was driving in Pennsylvania, going to the Poconos. And absolutely taking a little break. Hadn't had a break in a long time. Me and the word vacation do not visit often. So I was taking a couple of days for myself and was driving through the mountains, and I heard Steve Jobs died.
Oh wow!
And it really shook something in me, because I'm sitting here and I'm thinking I'm really doing big things. You know, yeah, you got your business. Yeah, you've made some money. Yeah, blah, blah, blah. But I'm thinking, this man really changed the world. And with all my gifts and all my talents, all I've done stuff for is myself and people in my immediate circle. So it was like, what can I do to give beyond myself? Really, if I died today, what would my life have amounted to?
Your legacy.
Yeah, absolutely. So I was like, okay, well, I know how to do business. Okay, maybe I can help people with that. I know how to speak well. Maybe I can help people with that, and maybe I can help them put it all together so that they are able to live a better life. And then it kind of hit me like, well, dang, that's what Tony Robbins and all these guys that you listen to all the time, the Zig Ziglars, the Tony Robbins, the Stephen Coveys, that's what they do. They pour what they have experienced and open it for other people to feel part of that, and they find themselves in that story and they start to live that. And I was like, okay, I can do that. And hence, I started the New Wealth Order. I said, I know how to make money. I can help people make money. I can help them live a better life, all at the same time. So hence why the company is called The New Wealth Order.
New Wealth Order. Love it.
Awesome. Love it.
It's great, man.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That's awesome. I'm amazing.
I guess I don't think I'm losing you, Patty. But yeah, I think Patty was about to tell her story because.
Oh, you think? Really?
I
go, that's the one. There you go. Now said, Teo, your turn. No,
Wait.
Yes.
Wait, that was
spaghetti and ham. I missed it.
All right, wait 1 second, guys. 1 second. We had a question. Sabrina over here says, how do you determine your plot in one story? Your plot is whatever you can identify with. I don't think it's necessarily your plot. It's just a piece or a challenge that you hear that they go through that you can identify with.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. Yeah, because this is kind of, so I came to New York City for my MBA, and I was at this Ariana Huffington event, right? Because I'm a big fan of Ariana Huffington, and all I do is media. So I was getting my MBA for them, and then she made this comment about her accent. And she said how at one point she wanted to change it, and because she was Greek, and people were like, you should change it. But she said one friend told her that that's her selling point, and that's who she is, and then she stuck with it. Yeah. And then she went on to joke about how her kids make fun of her accent, but for some reason, even though it was just a joke, that stuck with me because it reminded me of who I was, and who I am rather, is this third culture kid with a nomadic mindset who's Nigerian and has always grown up across several cultures. And then I was thinking to myself, this reminds me of a BuzzFeed article I have read, which it says 31 signs you're third culture kids. You're always thinking in 5 time zones. You speak several accents depending on who you talk to. And then I said, there are many stories I don't identify with. Why don't I just go create these stories? So then I went on Twitter, used the hashtag TCK, hashtag Global Nomads, and just everyone there I just followed. And then the ones that followed me back, I DM'd them. I said, hey, I want to start a podcast, and I want to tell you a story because I don't feel like it's heard out there. And we have this common goal. And like 80% of them said yes. And I had no idea how to create a podcast. So I was like, you know those moments you have, like, you're so excited, I'm going to change the world. So I just thought, whatever. So I quickly learned how to do it. And then the next week I was Skyping and interviewing all these people. And then I put it out. And then after the first few episodes came out, I started getting long essays from people saying, thank you for telling the story. Thank you for showing this. And I had no idea, but it came out because I wanted to tell my story, and I wanted to tell other people's stories because I felt like they weren't highlighted. And that just led me to start going down this path of being, a storyteller and giving people a platform to tell their stories. And then I was like, nah, this is just a hobby. And then I got laid off in my internship because this new management came up, and then she was like, yeah, we need to talk to you. And then she came into office, and I just thought she was telling me something about New Within, and she just told me, we're gonna have to let you go. And I remember just freezing And I was thinking, whatever you do, don't turn that table over. Don't do like the movies. Don't flip it off. And then I said all the right things. I was like, thank you for the time and everything. And I went back to my computer. I didn't have access to anything anymore. It was just very humbling. And then I just said to myself, do I just go find another job, or do I continue to tell my story and actually build the media company that I've been saying that I wanted to do? So I spent the whole weekend building the website, and then I opened it, and I opened the access to like people to tell the stories and create this mini Huffington Post, which is funny because it's full circles when I got the idea from Ariana Huffington, and now I was building a platform that was like Huffington Post where other people could contribute, and I'll be the publisher and editor-in-chief. But it was all because I decided to tell a story that I felt like wasn't being told, and I decided to tell my story and be vulnerable. But I led me to find out who I was, and I needed to be kicked a lot because I needed to get laid off. Because I was leaning on crutches. I think a lot of times one of the reasons why we get into the storytelling thing, we lean on a lot of crutches. We're like, it's comfortable. It's this. What do my friends say if I'm jobless for 6 months and I'm trying to find a passion? I'm here to get an MBA, and my parents are like, "What are you doing?" Yeah. So I just had to take that leap.
But I want to address something you said, and then we got some comments over here I want to address too. That people overlook so often. People think of vulnerability as weakness. Right. There's strength in vulnerability.
Yes.
It takes a lot to be open, and that's what makes you human. Mm-hmm. People understand that none of us are invincible, but a lot of people, when they think of vulnerability, I mean, that's why I was thankful that you said what you said. A lot of people think it's vulnerability as I'm being weak, and that's not being weak. There's strength in that.
Yeah.
And go ahead.
It's crazy. I didn't think I had a story to tell because first of all, I've always been like the youngest that I was like, no one's going to listen to me. I need it. But the first podcast episode I did, and when all my blog posts, all my articles, whatever, I just went and told my story and talked about what I did and what I struggled with and why I wanted to do what I want to do. My mission statement is use your difference to make a difference. And I'm always all about talking, about highlighting what's unique by yourself and using that to make an impact. Because I want to be able to communicate across cultures. And my thing is global leaders are built that way if you can communicate across cultures. Yeah. So I started telling my story, and I started realizing that I was connecting with people older and younger. I'm telling you, the essays I was getting, it's always the most humbling thing. It's like someone 20 years older than me telling me that they had never seen it that way, but they had never been brave enough to tell the story until they heard someone else tell the story because they thought they were alone. And I used to fall into that trap thinking I was alone. And that's why I was like, if you tell your story, you never know who you can impact. If it's just one person.
Yeah. It's true. Yeah, it's so true.
That is so true, Teo. Wow. I mean,
amazing share, Teo.
This is what I mean by the power of story. Like everybody in here feels more connected to him now than they did even when he came up on the screen, and I've seen Teo before. We've been in some blabs before, but not knowing his full story allows you to in. That's what it's about. And that's why I wanted to have this conversation about your glory is really in your story. That is what sets you apart from everyone else in this world. We all have had journeys that maybe we aren't expressing. And if we express those things and allow that uniqueness in our journey to be shown, then we can help and heal other people just through that.
Yeah. True.
Because
I totally believe the same thing. Because no, I wasn't kidding. I mean, I'm gonna tell my story. I wasn't being like about this I trying to dodge the bullet going. No, I don't know what's in my dirty laundry. No.
All right. One thing before we let Pat go. I wanted to my brother here, Leaders Residue, but his name is Galen. Galen said, determine how always comes later. That's very true. How always comes. And then he had another great comment. I'm trying to find it. This thing scrolls so fast. Courage is being afraid, but doing it anyway. Right. Very, very true. And then Fred says, when you tell a self-effacing story, you are not just overcoming your fears. You're overcoming for others too. Oh. See, Fred is a bad dude over there. He hides in the corner and, he calls me the Rev. He comes to church and messes with the Reverend all the time. So it's fine.
We all do.
Are we going to put him on the hot seat? We're going to put him on the hot seat. Come on.
Yeah. Actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to stay because I must hear Patty's story. I will be heartbroken if I don't hear Patty's story. But then I'm going to have to jump because the other story going on here is my son is sitting over there, pouty face. He's been waiting for me for 45 minutes. So
okay. I'm going to have a pressure going. I got to get this done by 5 minutes because otherwise.
Oh, no. I told him I was going to do this. I told him he had to listen to the story. And now we're going to discuss it.
I'm going to try to do three different areas to keep myself focused because I don't want to go blabbing on things. So,
okay.
I'm first generation Colombian American. Both my parents were born in South America. They came here in the 50s. My dad actually was one of the architects that was involved in the design and construction of the World Trade Center. My dad's already in his 80s. And growing up in here I was, and I know a lot of people some people can relate to the first generation experience, because although I was born here, you all know you don't hear no accent from me as far as my nationality, because I was educated here in the United States. And it was rough for them because although I was in the American society, so to speak, raised in Catholic high school and everything, and schooling and education was a strong point in my parents' philosophy. It was education, giving me the best education. And it was hard kind of being living and growing up in the American society, but yet coming home and having the traditional of what's my cultural traditions. So it was very hard for me growing up in high school. My parents didn't believe in sleepovers, you know what I mean? And I know that's another topic today, and today's totally different, but sleepovers weren't a thing. So it was hard for me, how can I guess it? Everyone else was able to, and I wasn't able to, you know what I mean? So it was very hard it was a very people-pleasing society, so to speak, because in our culture, we are the reflection of our parents. So we, as the children, have the pressure of making sure that we don't disgrace the family name. You know what I mean? We're being given the education to be something proud about. So I was what I call domesticated. Now that I've learned such things going through my personal journey and my personal development and figure out some stuff, domesticated to the point where I was in a very people-pleasing environment, and with my culture, I was kind of in a way suppressed of what I really was destined to be. As far as my thing was, Janet Jackson and entertainment and dancing, and that's my thing. Becoming an entertainer, that was one of my passions, that I wanted to be an entertainer growing up. So again, in our society, because my dad's mentality was, well, I'm not raising that type of girl. There's certain girls, in order for them to get to that success, they have to be a certain way, and I'm not raising that kind of a daughter. So I was kind of stunted, you know what I mean? And kind of did everything that I needed to do to please mommy and daddy. So I was always doing what I was supposed to do, get the education, get myself settled. Everything was kind of chronological of as far as you get your education, then you get married, then you have kids, then you have, everything was laid out, so to speak. So here I am growing up, first generation, and I did what I was supposed to do. And then life throws these curves on you. And you're like, wait a minute, this wasn't how it was supposed to be. So, I did what I was supposed to do. I was a good kid. I never got into drugs. I never got knocked up. I did everything I did, but I got married, and then all of a sudden my husband leaves me, and I'm in a divorce, and I'm like, what happened? You know what I mean? I was like, this wasn't supposed to happen. So divorce got in my life, and I was like, what in the world? This is crazy. So the whole thing of the expectation of life, that's why I learned about expectations, because I had these expectations. And when it got totally like a house of cards blown away, I was like, I didn't know what to do. I was devastated, So it's now I understood my hero's journey. You know what I mean? I'm going through the hero's journey, and I love the Wizard of Oz, and about the courage, about the lion, finding that courage in you, the scarecrow, about being smart enough, feeling if we felt smart enough, and then the Tin Man, do I still have a heart after going through what I went through, So it's oh geez, what is going on? Following my yellow brick road. So got into I went to college, got my education as avionics technology, avionics technician. So basically I fix aircrafts. The aircraft were the equipment inside the aircraft. So I was an electrical engineer for aircrafts, okay? Wasn't who I was, but that's what I had to do. So finally I get to fast forward, I got to the point where life throws those curves at you, and I had to start all over again. And here I am in the corporate world. I'm like, I wasn't really in the corporate world, and I got into the corporate. I just felt like a caged bird. I was like, I can't do this, because I was so used to being free and traveling and, just doing things. I had great jobs traveling, but I just, to be in a corporate job, because I was recovering from the divorce. So right. Oh God. So I knew inside me, I knew that I had this entrepreneur in me, because at the jobs that I was in my last couple of careers, when I was in the direct sales industry for about 4 years, and I was in corporate, I was just basically, I needed a paycheck. I needed to survive. I was in survival mode. I wasn't in thrival mode at all, and tried to recover the whole devastation of the divorce. So I'm like, oh my God, I know I have this in me. I know I have this entrepreneur spirit. I mean, I knew, and I did a lot of cool things in my job that a lot of people like, wow, you're talented in a lot of things. I was like the Jacqueline of all trades. And the only thing that was saving me at the time was like podcasts and online marketing and Marie Forleo. And like, I was like getting really involved because I really was into, personal development. I had always loved psychology. I was always fascinated, because I was just fascinated about trying to understand life. So I really dove into the personal development side. And then I started realizing all this stuff and going through my personal healing, and then realizing like, oh man, there are people that are trapped in the corporate world that are really entrepreneurs, but they're just stuck in this world because they either have to or whatever the situation is. But, there's got to be another way, because I kept thinking to myself, there's got to be more to life than paying bills and paying taxes and dying. There had to be something more to that, because I wasn't born to this world to not do or come to my highest potential, but I had to discover that along the way. And then I'm like, okay, the 2008 economy crashed, and then everyone's losing jobs. I'm like, wait a minute. We have life skills. We got human capital. We've got things that we can teach other people, that we can package, that we can help move forward. And that's when I was realizing Marie Forleo's, the Pat Flynn's, all these people that I was like, oh man, brilliant. They're brand new stuff. I have something to do. I have a thumb drive here in my brain that I'm going to data dump and offer something to people that I can be able to help and give my life experiences to other people. And that's how I came up with the brand new economy. I'm like, we're all branding ourselves. We're in a new economy now, that we don't necessarily have to be lifetime employees all our life. We can now be lifestyle entrepreneurs. So then I dove into my, personal development. I started investing in myself and doing what I could do. And then finally saying, well, I'm going to invest what I'm going to invest. I'm going to do what I'm going to do. And then came, the crossroads where opportunity and, opportunity and something come together. It's the luck. It's the crossroad. I forgot the quote, but when opportunity and something come together, that's when you have that luck, that stroke of luck.
Yes.
So I got to the point where something happened in my life, and I said, okay, this is it. It's do or die. This is it. And I went outside of my comfort zone, and I did what I had to do. And right now I'm all in it. And it's like the best decision I ever made. And I said, I'm here, I'm in it. And I started my podcast a year ago, and I'm here helping people.
All right.
And I'm now, the entrepreneurial spirit, I'm the brand myself. And it was I just had to go through what I call divine storms, and knowing that this is all still a journey. We're still learning. We're never, but everything that I now got into the true personal development and understanding that we are all in our journeys. We are all in our stories. We're all in different phases of our life, but everything is everything is in divine timing, that, just this specific moment, and you three that are here in this moment are serving a purpose in my life, as I am to be serving a purpose. There's a reason why we crossed. There's a reason why this happened. Everything's a reason why. And just taking it that way, as far as your story of not looking at it like, oh, something happened to me. It's actually happening for me. And really now having that different set of eyes and embracing that when the crap hits the fan and you have that crap sandwich, you know what I mean? To
Absolutely.
Really start looking back at the gratitude of what you have. Because really, to be honest with you, God has our back. Universe has our back. Just like your story, Jackie, like everything was you were protected. You had that guy took the back seat of the Jeep, so you had a place to put your body on instead of the floor, everything was provided for you. You know what I mean? So I just thought, okay, this is the journey. No matter what we go through, this is what it's all about. And it's about embracing this connection and just telling people like, it's more to life of what we're here to be born about and what we're here to give to this world. So then I said, okay, that's it. I'm here to entertain, educate, and empower, and share my story to be able, to play in full circle of, were you first generation? Did you feel domesticated? Were you this? Now you're discovering, then things happen in life. It's part of life. And now you're finding and discovering what is your purpose to be here and serve to the world. So,
okay. Right.
Spectacular. Patty, thank you for sharing. Honestly, I mean it.
I don't want to go too deep in detail, but in general, the nutshell, I
do. And there was a reason that I needed to stay, and I know what that reason is. So, thank you.
Yeah. Well, good.
and I definitely want to say, that part of what you're talking about, Patty, is that we are all a work in progress. We are not finished products. The moment you think you're finished, you are finished. Literally,
you are finished. Yeah.
So, the fact that we're going through things and growing, and you're showing that when you take that first step, see. Okay, I don't want to go into a personal development thing because we're talking about stories. But
story.
But the thing is that people fail to realize is that the first step isn't necessarily. It may be the hardest step, but it's not the most important step. And people always say that, and they get it twisted. It's the hardest step because it's hard to just say, I'm going to go ahead and go do it. The hardest step is the 10th step, the 11th step, after you done had your toes stepped on, after somebody kicked your shoes off, after you stepped on the rocks, after you banged your head against the wall.
Still going forward.
And that's the hardest. Exactly. So people misconstrue and take personal development cliches and throw them out there. And I always kind of look at cliches like, do you really know why you're saying them? So I just wanted to acknowledge you for taking that first step and continuing to take the steps. And congratulations on your 1 year of podcasting.
Thank you.
Yep. Congratulations.
Congrats.
All right, Jackie. Thank you.
All right. I hate leaving this. I really do. And I want everybody who's coming up in the comments to know I am going to watch the replay on this because I want to see all of this. And I am a connector, so I am going to reach out to you.
Yeah.
All. And so, and Teo, really great getting face to face with you finally. So I feel I truly feel honored to have been in this room for this. So thank you all. Honestly,
thank you.
All right, have a great night.
You take care, love. I'm so glad I caught you.
Thank you. Have a great night. All right.
Yeah, G, I have to go on another blab soon, but I knew I had to come support, man.
Well, I appreciate it, man.
Tell the story. But I'm catching the replay, so I'll catch the replay. And you got Shelton over here, so Shelton's a great. And Patty,
great contributor. Teo, always good to see you. So glad to see you.
Yeah. And you're coming to my podcast. We have a lot of cultural stories to talk about.
Tell me about it.
All right. Cool, Teo. Have a great night.
Bye.
Bye.
All right, we just welcomed Shelton, my man. Shelton.
Hello. Got a shout out from Teo. So whatever, a friend of Teo is a friend of ours.
Yes, thank you very much.
Shelton's awesome.
I
got one more person. I want Fred. Fred, can you come up here, Fred?
Fred.
Hi, Kim. Hi, Bobby. Hi, Brian. Everybody's coming in the room. I want to greet everybody. Welcome to The Glory in Your Story. We're talking about how storytelling relates to helping you succeed in business and actually just growing yourself as an individual and helping the people that you need to help. It's very important to be able to tell your story. So right now, we just brought up Shelton and Fred, and I've met Shelton before, so I know Shelton has something very compelling for us. So.
Okay,
Shelton, please.
This is something very personal to me because when I was a boy, when I was like 4 or 5 years old, my mother had an old Royal typewriter. Do you know what a Royal typewriter is?
Yeah.
Okay. It was the kind of typewriter that you have to bang on to type.
Yeah.
It was a black Royal typewriter. And I was like 4 or 5 years old, and I would grab my mother's hand and I would demand that she let me tell her a story. So I've been telling stories my entire life. That's what I love to do. I love to tell stories.
Nice.
Awesome.
So I see the world in stories. That's the way I view the world is in stories. And I love to tell stories. And that's why I love Blab, because I get to talk about and tell my stories. Some of the stories some people has heard repeatedly. It's because I only can equate it to when I was in Seoul as an expat. You got to know people really well, really quick, and you tell the same stories over and over and over and over and over and over again. and that's the same way with Blab, because it's such a small community. Everybody, like, people are starting to hear my stories over and over again. But anyway,
I haven't heard it, so.
Well, I've got hundreds of stories I can tell you.
Okay.
But anyway, the point is, I am also an entrepreneur, at least in my own fevered imagination, and I'm trying to be a producer of a Blab that would be like, this is my first foray into production of a Blab, and
Okay.
it's hopefully it can be popular, because I have someone who's going to be my on-air talent, and I would just like be the talent rustler and stuff like that. So I am that's my my vision right now, is to see if I can actually get that off the ground. I need talent, though. I need somebody to interview. So that's my thing I'm working on right now. But being an entrepreneur, I can honestly tell you that it is a lot about telling stories. If you can tell an effective story, then you can get people's attention and they will help you out. And that's all. I'll shut up now.
You don't have to shut up. This is definitely the format, and why I wanted to talk about it, because your story is vital to how people connect with you. I mean, just what you were about to go into. You know, it's how people relate. It's how people are able to get a gauge into the type of individual that you are, because you're very unique, and your story is not mine. It's not Patty's, it's not Fred's, it's your story. And what made you you, and what brought you to the point that you are at now, compels people. And that's why I talk about how important stories are. But Fred, my man Fred, he's part of the congregation. Actually, he is the head pastor of the church.
Man, someone's touching the truth here with a story.
So
he's not paying you for the story. You're paid to tell you the story.
I wanted to have Fred come up. Fred has a story for us, so go ahead, Fred. Tell us.
Well, actually, it was just about the subject here, you know, the power of storytelling, and especially when you get to be a little older and seasoned and stuff like that. Seasoned's a good word.
Seasoned's a great word.
It's a polite word, anyway. People are always trying to draw those stories from you, and as you know, Gerald. Sorry, I was in the military for 35 years. The pointy end aside, not your military, mine. 9 combat actions around the globe, blah, blah, blah. And my whole business right now is really a leadership and business strategy, mostly for my C-suite clients, but I also take on a whole bunch of young entrepreneurs pro bono. And it was just fortuitous that you were, bring this up as a subject today, because I had a speaking gig this morning. The real speaker didn't show up, and the organizer called me and said, "Can you come down in 2 hours and speak?" Yeah, sure. What's the subject? But it's mostly about, things that you learned in battle, which are also apropos to business. So there I am, give a shtick to a bunch of young entrepreneurs, and they're all talking about risk.
Risk.
Yeah, it's like, well, what do I do about risk management? Well, first of all, don't manage it. What executive decision support processes are supposed to be about. Anyway, so they're saying, what about risk? What if I make mistakes? What if I lose money? What if I have to give up my house? Blah, 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 blah. And I said, okay, let me give you a story here from my last time I was in command, which was in Afghanistan. And I said, before the big battle next day, everyone gives orders, everyone rehearses, everyone's in confidence with the plan. Because planning is easy. It's the execution side, which always sucks, right? So rehearse, and turn it as an organizational learning thing before you commit our sons and daughters into harm's way. So anyway, I'm walking around night through the lineup of vehicles, and I see one of the ramps down on one of the LAV-3s, and there's a young lieutenant. He just arrived 2 weeks ago, because we had taken some casualties before. He's one of the new replacements. So this was going to be his first day at the pointy end. And it's like, dark 30 in the morning. He's got his flashlight out, and he's looking at maps, and he's flipping through notes. And I said, "Lieutenant, what are you doing?" He says, I'm going over stuff for tomorrow. I said, "Well, everybody else in her platoon right now is asleep. And the real big question is, why aren't you?" He said, "Well, sir, this is my first day at the pointy end, and I'm kind of worried about screwing up. What if I screw up? What if young men and women die?"
Oh, wow.
And I said, "Let me tell you something. Been doing this job for a long time. You can do everything right, And young men and women under your command are still going to die tomorrow. That's the nature of the profession that we're in. So that was the parallel of what the story I was telling guys today, is that, you know, you have to be able to prepare to take some risks. You know, the question is, how bloody do you wish to get to achieve that objective? How important is that objective to you? The funny part of that story was, of course, I gave that young lieutenant a blast in the field, and I said, you know what? You're more friggin' dangerous, you know, sleepy tomorrow and tired than you are than anything else. So get your ass to bed right now. When I leave his vehicle, I bump into my regimental sergeant major, and he says, I said, Sergeant Major, what are you doing? He says, well, sir, Colonel, I'd like to ask why you're up, because I'm staying up to make sure you go to bed. So, you know, there's, you know, to thine own self be true, right? Right. But that was the point I was trying to make to young entrepreneurs today. You know, don't manage risk, assess it. And if you have obstacles, and if you think that you might get a little bloodier, metaphorically, depending on the kind of business you're in, then, you know, the next question should be, so what? And the so is, what are you going to do about it? Either I'm going to pick a different objective or a different pathway, or I'm going to do a way to mitigate risk, or I'm going to take the risk, depending on what the payoff was. There were these two guys arguing about when they were going to release their apps, and it's like, oh man, app entrepreneurs, you guys are the worst. Given the nature of your business, the question should be, why aren't you releasing it in 15 seconds? You know, so, well, I don't want my intellectual property to go astray. It's going to go astray anyway. It's not a risk. Don't worry about it. So it's really getting people to get out of that zero risk mentality. If you want a zero risk mentality, stay at home, get an alarm system, you know, buy a German Shepherd.
Paralysis, right? Analysis paralysis, right?
So that was my story from today.
If I may interrupt briefly, the thing I learned from being an entrepreneur in Seoul is that every problem is an opportunity in disguise. That's the thing that because there was lots of crises with the magazine that I ran in Seoul, and I learned a lot about. I'm good at strategic thinking. That's my specialty, is strategic thinking. And the magazine I started went from a photocopied little 250 copy magazine to a 3,000 full color magazine in a matter of months. Now we ran out of money and we never made money, but I feel as though I proved the point, and that's that I'm good at shepherding creative people towards a common goal, and that's why I think I can be a pretty good blab producer, for want of a better term, that's a knack that I have that I really love doing, and I really enjoy being an entrepreneur because I'm willing to take a risk. I'm willing to fail. I don't mind failing. And you know, sometimes that sort of alienates people, because I'll come up with ideas that don't go anywhere. But if I generally say, in being facetious, when people listen to me, cool things happen. And right. That sometimes it's a matter of getting people to listen to me, but they don't always listen to me. But anyway.
Well, we've had that convo before, Gerald. We talked about, you know, every good team needs a dreamer, a pragmatist, and a critic, right?
Right.
And knowing when to play those roles, and more importantly, when not to play those roles. And certainly, you know, this syncs with what Shelton's saying. The one thing I would add, a lot of people confuse obstacles and problems.
There you go.
Okay.
Obstacles and problems.
Yeah, they're not the same thing. Okay. A problem is something that has a resolution.
Okay.
An obstacle is something that's in your way that you may not be able to do anything about, because guess what? You don't control all the little things in the universe.
Oh, good.
Right?
That's nice.
So
like
what I tell people is, I do this in business as in battle thing. I said, in business as in battle, if you see an obstacle, you don't ignore it. In battle, we don't ignore obstacles. When a guy throws a minefield there, we don't ignore it. We either pick it, we keep eyeballs on it, or we go around it.
That's it.
Fred,
all right?
Fred, I have to ask you.
Sorry. So that's the same sort of parallels that you would do in business. A lot of guys confuse what a problem is versus an obstacle. An obstacle is something you can't do anything about. It's there, but you can do things about it.
Absolutely.
Problem always has a solution. Sorry, Sheldon. Yeah.
No, I was just going to, from an entrepreneurial standpoint, which general do you think is the best person to follow the mentality of?
Sir William Slim.
Why Sir William Slim?
Why Sir William Slim? Because yes, first of all, he was one of the best writers on leadership and strategy of the last century. Secondly, he was a guy that was an operational level commander that had an impossible mission.
Yeah, what was his mission?
He was the British Task Force commander for all of India, Burma, and the Far East.
What time frame?
World War II.
Oh, okay.
So you know that whole bridge over the River Kwai stuff?
Oh, so he was the bridge over the River Kwai guy.
Yeah, that kind of guy. So he was the kind of guy who literally wrote the book on mission type impossible type stuff. He was a much better leader than, let's say, a guy like Montgomery. He was a terrible leader, but he had better press. If I had to pick an American general who was probably the best entrepreneur, the most disruptive, would have to be Douglas MacArthur. And there's, and read William Manchester's 2 books on called American Caesar. And if you don't want to read the books, Michael McClure did a 12-hour video documentary on it. But everything, when you look at MacArthur, the soldier versus MacArthur, let's say the guy, the ultimate cold warrior who writes the most liberal constitution for Japan, as an example. This is a guy that was very, very adaptive as a leader. He changed his leadership styles to match the nature of the operations he was in. But he always had one really good rule as a strategist. If you're taking on a superior enemy or a market competitor, don't hit them where they are, hit them where they ain't.
Hit them where they ain't.
Hit them where they might be in the future.
No. Hit them where they ain't.
Shock and awe.
Hit them where they ain't. Well, his whole island hopping campaign, as an example, in the Manilas, was every time the Japanese moved one place, he'd attack someplace else. It didn't matter whether that was even tactically important to them. It upset their center of gravity. So it's the same sort of thing that you do in business. It's all about centers of gravity. What's the one thing that you must protect versus the one thing you must always overcome? And good example, Steve Jobs was a great guy for don't hit them where they are, hit them where they ain't. Okay? Mm-hmm. Produce a product that no one has asked for yet.
Absolutely. Create your demand.
Right. Create your own market, and everybody else will copy. So he was the market entry versus trying to enter into the market. There's lots of other parallels. Sorry, the guy that ran for president there 10, 15 years ago.
Ross Perot?
Ross Perot was another really good guy as a corporate innovator. Okay. But again, don't read his book on himself. Read other people's books on him, especially when he was president of EDO. Right. Well, anyway, I've dominated the subject enough here. I'm going to open this to somebody else, Rev.
Well, I appreciate you coming up, Bishop Fred. Bishop Fred always comes in, spreads the word, the good word about business, and he's a very wise man. Fred, do you have a website where people could follow you, or
you can? Yeah, it's on my Twitter handle. I don't know if it comes up with my Blab handle, but it's www. I'll write it down here because that's an awful lot easier for people. Www. This is the part where I have to be vain and put my glasses on. That's that. redteam.com. And really, where I mean, a lot of this, don't worry about the corporate strategy and leadership stuff. That's me selling the stuff. Go to my page called Oban's Axioms. If you really want to see some fun stuff, my little sort of one-liners about what to do and what not to do in business and battle, usually people find those mildly entertaining. www.redteam.com. Don't want to write down the wrong one and send you to some porn site in Red China or whatever.
That would be bad. That would be bad. But
talk about some credibility issues.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll just go back in the sidelines here and hang out and watch your really great lab here, Rev, and certainly open a seat for somebody else to come in and tell their stories. Okay.
All right. Well, I definitely appreciate you, Fred. Thank you for coming up. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah, you haven't been doing any poetry tonight, have you?
Oh, I did one in the first 5 minutes. You missed it. But I will close with one before we go. So
make sure it's on record because I want to write it down. That's my come handy on Valentine's Day. Okay.
All right.
Pleasure meeting you, Fred. Thank you so much for your service and everything.
Patty.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. I have a soft heart with military.
So, is there anybody else that would like to come up? I see the wonderful Cherie is in here. We have 80 in here. Jonathan. We have a lot of people that are here. Cherie. Okay, it's always a treat.
Yeah.
Good to see Cherie.
Cherie, my love.
I love me some Cherie.
I saw some Cherie. I saw her giving some feelers, some props.
Thank you, Sheldon. For it's. I always say it's the wine, not the fruit.
Oh, not cherry, not my cherry. It's my Cherie.
Oh, Cherie. Everybody wants me to either be Cherry or Cherie. And I'm saying, Cherie. So, Sheldon, thank you. Okay.
I know a little bit about everything, and so I like there's I like if I hear a woman's name Paula, I go, hey Paula. So there you go.
They still haven't yet to do a name for a song for me. The only thing I have is from Young Turks.
Wait a minute.
From what's his face? Rod Stewart.
This
baby boy. And I'm like, great. That's my thing for music. Patty gives birth to a 10-pound baby boy. There's another song from Patty.
I remember what it is right now.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah.
And then we went off topic. Go ahead, bring back.
It's okay. So, Shelton, are you done? I think we have one more person that wants to.
Okay, yes, sir. I'll leave. Thank you, sir.
All right. Thank you for coming. Thank you, Shelton. I think 80 wanted to come up, and Cherie.
You want me to rotate too? Do you have someone else?
Not Cherie, Sherry.
Do you need someone else to rotate to as well?
Making a mean face works wonders. I have to go.
Is someone else too?
Willis?
Yeah, I think it's one more, Patty.
Okay. Oh, okay.
All right, there's 80, and we have Sherry, who Sherry and I always seem to find each other on this site somehow. Yes. When she's somewhere, somehow it's just really.
I find him, or he finds me.
Yes, and it's awesome. Well, back to what the topic was. We were on the second part about what makes your story so important, and we were just talking about delivery and meaning, and we began sharing stories, and like it always happens when you start sharing stories, time starts to fly. Yeah. So the third part of what I felt that was important in storytelling is actually, the not authentication, but being real to the feeling of which it was written in. And that's the problem I think a lot of people have conveying their message when they're telling their story. They tell their story, like when Jackie was here, we talked about it. People tell it kind of flat, but life doesn't happen in 2D. Life happens in 3D.
3D, right.
So it's not, you have to add the colors. You can't just say that it was, I walked down the street.
Right.
Was it a dark street? Was it a city?
Was it Bourbon Street?
Exactly. So that's the part that people miss when they're telling their stories, that make their stories kind of not as compelling as they could be. That's why they find themselves searching when they're telling them.
Can I ask you something, and hopefully we'll open it for these ladies to talk about? There's, I guess people, when we're talking about vulnerability and not, being looked as a weakness, sometimes it's a very difference when you have already been through your divine storm and you're on the other side, and now you can tell your story, and you're on the other side, so it's easier to tell your story because you made it to the other side, and so it's easier to tell as compared to telling your story while you're still in the divine storm. And so how is it? Do you open while you're in it, and then it allows other people to say, okay, I want to be part, like you're more, I won't say likable, but more relatable because you're in the struggle like everybody else? Or is it more like you're in the other side, and when you tell your story, now it inspires somebody else because they say, okay, they went through the divine struggle, look, they made it to the rainbow. So what's your take on that?
Well, let me say something that, and I mean to be pushy, but I think there's sort of a semantic difference as well between what you're describing. There's a story and there's a narrative.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Because the narrative is real time. We're driving down the road and this happened or whatever, versus, now again, I may be bringing stuff into it, but the story is hey, this is what sort of happened. These were some of the things that I encountered. These were some of the things that I realized, so again, it may be the difference between real time, right? And really, in a lot of ways, I think that real time part is hard because, there's a reason why that phrase, you can't see the forest for the trees, is a popular phrase because you can't see the forest for the trees. So, yeah, I know what's coming at me and I'm not sure how it's going. Now, that can be compelling, because it's like, tune in next week to see if...
like a serial podcast.
Right. Yeah. So that's just my take on it.
So I know Addie's a psychology, bachelor of psychology, so I love to dive into it because I love psychology. So it's so great to meet you. And
my thing about that would be that honestly, we go through different life is spurts and storms. That's what it is. You're gonna have a spurt, so there's always a storm that you've come through. So you don't have to tell the one that currently is happening because like Sherry was saying, that when you're in that, it's hard to see because you're so caught up, and a lot of people don't deal well with the stress of issues. They don't understand how to deal with it and talk about it. They can't even tell their friends what's going on. It's kind of like when we talk about coaching clients, when they come to you, a lot of times they come to coaches different than they come to doctors. And that's an issue I have. You come to a coach and you're like, all right, fix everything. My business isn't working. And naturally for me, it's like, okay, what's wrong? Like a doctor, I can't prescribe you a prescription if I don't know what's ailing you.
The diagnosis.
So if I give you something for a headache and you're about to have a heart attack and we need to go do surgery, then I'm destroying your life. So people have to first be understanding of what's happening, why they're going through it, what situations they've created so that they can take that control. But it's so hard when it's happening for them to do that. So there's always a story they can tell, though, because we've all been through some stuff, no matter what. 10-year-olds have stories right now. So.
And even coaches, I know just from a therapist point of view, okay, the person coming in, talking about telling stories, they come in and tell you one thing is the thing they want to work on, and that's not it until they feel comfortable. Going back to what you said, Patty, about exposing yourself or being vulnerable. So they come in basically saying, I don't want to be vulnerable right now, so I'm going to make up a story. That's what clients do, because I do coaching and counseling. And they come in, they make up a story that they want you to work on, and then they're going to sit back and observe how you work on it to decide.
Oh, wow. Interesting. Pretty interesting.
Right. And just to even piggyback off of that, and then we'll go on and let Addie tell her story, because I'm so excited to have Addie in the room. I met her a few days ago, and she came in when we made a happenstance poetry room impromptu at like 11:30 on a Saturday night, and that's how I met her. But as she said, the thing is, when people tell you stuff, they tell you it to you in layers. Like we were talking about, life is 3D. People give you 2D because that's as deep as they want to go. They want to deal with surface. They don't want to delve deeper because it scares the heck out of them when they have to start searching in there. So
it reminds me, like, when you meet me, you're just meeting my representative.
That's it.
You're meeting my representative. You're meeting my representative. I had someone say that to me. You're just meeting my representative.
Okay. So cool. Now we're going to meet Miss Addie herself, and we would love to hear a story from you, and just talk about. She
looks like a podcaster. You a podcaster?
I hope to be.
She has a great voice. You hear that? You hear the voice?
She's got the voice. She's got the sound thing. She's got
face for radio, as they say, something like that. Yes. I'm so glad to be here. So glad to be here. So glad
Where are you tuning in from?
Pardon?
Where are you tuning in from?
Basement in Washington State.
Washington. Oh, Washington State. I love it.
Yes.
I love Washington State.
Yes, I love the rest of it.
She's cool. I like her, Paula. You.
Yes, so, okay, so 80, tell us a story. I know you said you don't have a lot to add, but you are a young woman with a bachelor's in psychology. That is phenomenal. There's some story to that.
Yeah.
Oh God. I don't even. Oh no.
Or you can share a poem.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. It just made a sound like, "Ha, you're screwed." Now, but I can hear you. You can hear me. I really, honestly, have no idea which kind of story to start with. I mean, throw out a word.
No,
you have to wake up the family.
You can share a poem. That's a story because it comes from a part of you. So
this is true.
What makes Addie? What makes Addie?
Addie.
Is it Addie?
It's 80 or Addie, but I really respond to both.
80. What makes 80's heart tick?
Oh goodness, mostly confusion. I like to believe. Well, I don't like to believe. I kind of am stuck with believing that which makes me tick is this undeniable just desire, fiery hot desire to understand.
Yeah, psychology. Go figure. Yes.
Yeah, right. Yeah, and I got into psych because when I was going through puberty, puberty sucks just for anybody, but I started having some symptoms that were pretty concerning, I suppose. I was having false sensation perceptions, auditory and visual. So I was kind of seeing things that were not there and hearing things that were not there, and started having panic attacks and had to kind of withdraw from school. And it was just really dreadful and horrible time. And so I entered the world of being a psych patient. And as a child, there needs to be like crash courses for patients of all ages, kind of first of all, to let you know that therapists are not psychic. So I got my first DSM-4 TR, Diagnostic Statistical Manual, when I was 15, because I decided I wanted to be able to figure out what was going on as well. Because I was just sick and tired of all of these labels being thrown around and medications being given to me that made me sick, and I didn't know why. And so, I loved writing, and I loved writing poetry and diaries and just filling pages. And I always imagined that like someday, somehow I would get the oomph to compile it and something, I don't know, but writing's been really great for me. And, got my bachelor's in psychology and had all kinds of fun on the way there.
Experiences.
Oh boy, yeah, lots of missteps and whatnot. But
you got that written down too, right? You wrote that down, right? Because
I got it all. Yeah.
Good.
Severe drug addiction and rehabilitation. Marriage and divorce, and most recently misdiagnosis for 1 year of narcolepsy and mistreatment. So right now I'm very much in the flux of not knowing what I want to do, or actually more not knowing what I can do, what is really possible. And over the past few years, I've really developed such a love for encouraging other people who are going through difficult times to express themselves creatively.
And there's your gift.
Okay. And doing so online.
There's your gift.
And let me say too, Addie, put away that DSM-4 and now 5, okay?
Oh, I love it though.
It's no good for me. And I was about to say, that is not you. What she's talking about, the DSM-4 and 5 is the Bible of psychiatrists and therapists with all the labels or whatever. And I know when I was going through graduate school, every time you read a symptom, you'd say, "Oh, I've got that." Then you go to the next one. "Oh, I've got that."
It's like Google.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Definitely know. I know that.
I like the way you said, and to me, it seems so much more realistic. Okay, because if you want to get me on a soapbox, start talking about the DSM-4 and 5, especially 5, okay? Because for me, it's a scam. Okay, I'll say that as it's a scam. But okay,
it is.
She said it.
Okay, but I like what you said in terms of simply helping people through difficult problems.
Yes.
Okay, because earlier, Gerald, you were saying we're all works in progress, and that's what you're doing, Addie, is meeting someone along this progress and saying, hey, this is what I've done, this is what I've learned, take it. You may not be able to use it, you might be able to use it, and for that I thank you. Okay.
And then too, you've already resolved an issue without even realizing you resolved it, because you had immediately said puberty sucked, so that was the target there. Puberty sucked, and then you said someone really needs to come up with something, because who's the someone? Who's the someone who's gonna be able to do it?
Oh yeah,
I really. And so right there, you already have that passion, that heart, because you'll gravitate towards the puberty area. That was your time that you were so like, what is going on? And no one was there for you. Now that you walk that path and understand that, man, I wish someone would have been there for me. Now there's your gift. Because like, I'm wondering, what is it that I'm capable of? You already answered your question. Answered your question.
Well, I would just say congratulations for pulling through, and this is what I mean by your story can touch so many people in so many different ways.
Yeah.
The fact that you made it through those challenges, and the other challenges that you alluded to that you faced also afterwards, and the misdiagnosis. Oh Lord, please don't get me started. Listen to me. I don't have a PhD. My PhD, I tell everybody, is from SWU, and in case y'all don't know what that is, that's Sidewalk University School of Hard Knocks.
University of Hard Knocks. I love it.
I got a doctorate from there. But the thing is that when you start talking that stuff, so many people that have been diagnosed with bipolar disorder actually have borderline personality disorder, and they start treating them for bipolar, and they mess them up further. So they, like Cherie said, she can speak to it more because that's really her background. But I know
you're saying it exactly. Bipolar is the
label, doesn't define you. Not the labels.
No, it's the favorite diagnosis, and
yes, it is.
Part of the reason why it's the favorite diagnosis is that personality disorders are not billable.
There you go.
Look at me, see?
Amen. Oh, I like you. I'm glad we all have.
And you're gorgeous. You're just like the light of you. You're just absolutely adorable. Like you just.
Thank you so much.
You're definitely magnetic. Definitely magnetic.
Yes.
I told that voice. What was the first thing I said to you when I came in that blab earlier today? Because she came into the poetry room. She couldn't stay because she was at a party. And she tried to turn on her camera, and everybody started harassing her while she was in the poetry room. So she turned off the camera. So we barely got to see her. And so when I saw her today, I was like, oh, it's 80. And I came in and I was like, wow. And I heard her talk. I said, you have a great voice. Mm-hmm. I said, and you have such a beautiful smile. She's
gorgeous.
Thank you. I thought the first thing you commented on was the topic. Maybe the second thing might have been about my voice.
Yeah, because you had a very funny topic up there.
Yes.
So
yes. Go ahead. But thank you guys. Yeah, and something that I'm really grateful for in all of this confusion and difficulty is, I don't love the DSM. I'm so frustrated, especially because I was like in my studenthood of this when they transferred to 5, and it was just like, what are you doing? What about all this? Anyways, but I got to a point where like I really love people, and I really love people who are of all different abilities, who come across in all different ways. And I mean, yes, some people have some pretty severe things that diagnostic and then, proper medications for very serious things. But really, we all have something wrong with us, and labels don't define us.
Very true.
Because if labels defined me, I don't think I'd exist. I think I would have collapsed into like a black hole or something.
If labels defined us, I don't think any of us would be sitting here right now. We'd be in a corner, balled up, crying.
No,
because people label us so much, and
yes, they do.
So, yeah,
but the fun and dysfunction.
Absolutely,
I love that.
We put the fun and dysfunction. Oh wait,
Sherry, you're muted. You're muted. Unmute.
Oh. Gosh,
I was saying amen to something, and I didn't want the sound to come through, and I forgot. I like clicking. Okay, when you say something I like clicking. But the thing to always keep in mind, because even outside of the DSM, people are going to label you. The thing, the way I look at it is, just because someone gives you something doesn't mean you have to accept it. Just because someone gives you something, you don't have to accept it. So they offered me a gift. I thanked them for what they were trying to do, but I appreciate the offer, but I think I'll pass. Moving right along.
Amen.
Beautiful.
Now y'all see why I love me some Sherry. See, and I was picking at Sherry. It's almost like the same way I met you, 80. I was asking her, get on the camera, and I did the same thing to Sherry the first time I met her. Why are you? I mean, because she goes to town over in those comments. And
nice.
I was like, Sherry, get on the camera, get on. And she was like, no. And then she finally hopped on, and she got on and gave me the Russell Simmons the first time I saw her. All right, I came on. I'm going to bed.
Okay. It was late, and I'd been on a million blabs, and they said get on the camera. So I said, okay, I'm on the camera now. I'm ready to go to bed. And he calls me the ninja. But
ninja.
But see, for me, I don't mind coming on the camera, but I like sitting over in the comments, because there you can watch the interaction, you can hear stuff, and you can, Eddie gets it, see? Analyze and you can join in by making a little comment and this, that, and the other. Whereas on here, I've got to watch all the bells and whistles, and I got to talk, and so I don't mind it. But Gerald did. Bless his heart, he pushed me. And it was what I needed. But by the same token, everything I do is very deliberate.
Absolutely.
I'm an introvert. Okay. A lot of people say, oh, you are? Yes. So I analyze stuff. So by the time I'm ready to do something, I've sort of come up with my whole little line of reasoning, and these are the things that I see, and this is what I want to do. So that was part of the reason why I was just sort of sitting in the peanut gallery. But I still like it. I prefer it.
Okay, well, I mean, whether nobody's going to believe this every time I say it, I'm actually a very shy guy. So why did everybody start laughing? See, at least 80 didn't laugh, so that's good.
I just immediately thought, if you were an extrovert, you probably would have just been out saying those poems to women instead of coming up with how beautiful they are. So I was able to grasp it.
Mm-hmm. And
oh, thank you.
Please, the head is big enough already.
No, wait a minute, Gerald, you were the one that asked me if we met that I went to Podcast Movement. You were the one that asked me. We were tweeting back and forth for a while. So you and I, we were bantering about it.
Yeah.
And I said, I did meet you. It must have been a hot second. It was more like a hot minute. That's what I am, a hot minute. I'm like,
oh man. So so that's what we were talking about, those storytelling and the power in your stories. And I'm trying to just get people to realize that it's very important to at least talk about your experiences. Now, whether that be with what they call a professional, whether it's a counselor, whether it's a psychiatrist, whether it's a coach, or just sharing with people that are willing to listen. Sometimes you just have to get it out. And if you get it out, it helps you heal, and it empowers you to utilize that same thing that may have been somewhat holding you back or causing you pain, and it develops into a stand for you to be able to create the life that you want. And it's amazing how your story is really where your glory is. It is so true. And with that being said, I'm trying to woo Tina up here. I'm trying to see if Tina will come up.
All right, well, let me say this and then I'll get out, okay? So I can go over there and harass.
Like her.
Oh, I love harassing them. I love harassing. But you think about it. Humans have two things. Humans are pack animals. Humans are pack animals. And humans have a need to tell. Humans have a need to tell. Why do you think we see on the cop shows where the guy knows that the person in the cell with him, is a snitch, but he says, yeah, I robbed the bank and I hid the money over there and this, that, and then they get in court and he says, he's a snitch. Humans have a need to tell. And you're right, Gerald, that it does relieve, because sometimes the most hardened criminal will say, I confessed and I finally got that off my shoulder.
Yes.
Yeah, that's so true. So
Peace
true.
out.
Peace out.
Thank you, Sherry. You know I love me some Sherry.
Bye. So I also wanted to say really quick, because you were talking about the, how empowering it can be to share that and to find really like your core values and your drive and what you want to do. But being someone who's kind of in the midst of that right now, like I certainly haven't made anything of it. It's so scary.
Yeah.
And it's so scary to
story in the narrative.
Being like this, like trying to be this like candid, I guess, with it and take the perspective and kind of I don't know. It's so scary, because then it's like there's always that chance, and people are constantly trying to convince me that I should just give up, and it's been a waste of time, and I should have just kept my mouth shut.
Listen, nope.
I was
so
going to say, look, the thing is, if it didn't scare you, then it might not be your purpose. When it's your purpose, it's supposed to scare you, because it's not about you. See, this is the mistake that a lot of us make.
It's not about you. Yeah.
When we start talking about whether we're living our purpose or these catchphrases everybody throws around, but I just say, what you were born to do, when you find that thing, it's supposed to scare you to death, because it's not really for you. It's for the world. It's for the rest of us.
Yeah, moves your core.
Exactly. You are the aspirin to somebody's headache.
Ooh, that's a tweetable. That's a tweetable.
I'll take being aspirin
to someone else's headache. That's a tweetable.
And this is so encouraging and really refreshing to be able to talk with you guys and get this support, because my mind just trailed off.
Better than therapy, right? Free therapy.
We're good, really. But just that it can actually make somebody, because there's always that fear. I think probably with all of us for the rest of our lives, there's that little fear somewhere that's telling you, you know what, you're actually not helping anybody. You're just, but at the same time, I've learned to take that and just run with it crazily.
Well, what I say is, get out of your head, Seth. Stop trying to worry about the mind. And I know that's what people tell you.
Get down to the heart.
That's it.
Get down to the heart.
Your mind can never tell your heart what to do.
Nope.
Ever. Just try. Think to yourself, say, heart, stop beating. See if your heart stops.
Now say, stop thinking.
Yeah.
You can stop thinking. You can stop thinking for a while. You can totally zone out.
Exactly.
The fear is like, I've been following my heart and I know where my heart wants to go, but then my brain is like, hey, by the way, I still exist. By the way, you're broke. By the way.
Right. Your brain is there to protect you. See, and I'm not trying to get into the whole personal development thing. And thank you, Miss. I am so proud of this sister. She's up here. Look at my girl. All on camera.
And we're giving her feel. She's already at 500. Go.
Exactly. Thank you for standing up and stepping up and standing out. I appreciate it. But just back to the psychology of it real quick. Your brain is there its natural process is one, to control your bodily function so you can move and all that stuff. But the second part is it's to protect you. That's why you remember painful things. So like when you burn your hand and things like that. So your brain's always looking out for a way to protect you. So when you start thinking of doing something that you haven't done, or that's not a normal part of what you normally would do, your brain naturally sets off alarms. Oh, what if this happens? What if that happens? Oh no, that's stupid. You don't want to do that because this can happen. And fear is really based in the future. So if you're focused on being present, fear won't even bother you.
I really like that. Thank you.
So
you're very welcome. Face everything and rise. Fear. Face everything and rise. Oh my gosh, you're a doll. You're beautiful. You're a beautiful light and spirit. Like I said, you're just a doll. I just think you're a doll. So
I am so honored to.
Follow me, connect me if you want anything with podcasting, whatever. You know, your vibe attracts your tribe. Come around to the people that really attract your tribe. Stay away from the ones that are not really the naysayers. And then follow your gut instinct. Get into your heart. Everything's fine. Just surrender. And everything's fine.
Awesome. Thank you.
You're perfect as you are. You're perfect.
Thank you.
And the last thing I want to add, Rick Wolf gave you some encouragement over there. Yes. He said, that's what meditation is hey brain, stop thinking.
Yes.
So you get an opportunity to listen. So that's something that we talk about on another one, because we're really talking about stories and stepping up.
Whoops.
I want to hear TT's story.
TT, can you look at her? Now she shook her head as soon as we said her name.
What is up?
She's gorgeous. I'm going to go ahead and calm down. Thank you guys so much.
No, thank you. It was a pleasure meeting you.
Talk to you guys later.
You so
bye, darling.
Okay, so TT, you're going to tell us a story. My man Jonathan's coming up too, and then we'll be about to wrap up in a few.
I don't even know how I can follow after what everybody else said.
No, you can. You can.
See, let me put you in the right frame. Let's frame you, okay? It's not about what everybody else said. Your experience is your experience. So this isn't about anybody else. You came here, feel free. You're in a loving, safe place. So just share. I mean, your story is your story. I mean, we all have our own experiences.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't even know where to start, to be honest. I'm so confused right now as far as life and decisions, and I don't know. I don't even know where to start.
All right, what has you confused? What led you to confusion? Let's start there.
Well, I was diagnosed with ADHD at a very late stage, my junior year.
Don't get me started on that. Oh, geez.
Okay. We gotta be gentle. We gotta be gentle.
Well, my junior year in college, and ever since then, it's kind of been like a downward spiral. It's really hard to complete things, even my degree. I'm like a semester away, and it's for some reason I just can't go. I can't go back. I don't know what it is. I get in class and I just go blank, and I don't know.
Okay, let me ask you this: was it always that way for you, or was it when you heard that you are supposedly have ADHD that started being a challenge?
No, I actually think a lot of it stemmed from my childhood. Coming up, my mom was on drugs. My father was incarcerated for the majority of my life, and my grandparents raised me, and they did an excellent job. However, when my grandfather passed away, it just kind of like, it was a lot for my grandmother being a single parent with 2 kids that she had to take in. And to be honest with you, I have 2 children now, and I don't really remember that many positive memories. And sometimes as a parent, I'm stuck. Like, I don't know what to do. I feel like there's no manual that came with these kids.
Yes.
I don't know. And then a lot of people don't want to admit they have these insecurities or these uncertainties in certain subjects. But I'm just being honest, as a parent, sometimes I feel like it's just too much. I don't know if I'm doing it right. I don't know.
First, let me again just thank you for having the courage to even come up and decide that you wanted to speak up and share anything. I mean, with us at all. I mean, this takes a certain amount of bravery to do. And secondly, I want to encourage you in the fact that there is no right or wrong way necessarily to parent. It's your style of parenting. And I know you've had some experiences and some pains that you may be holding on to. Let me ask you this. What is it that you feel most blocked by? Like what is the one thing, if you said, this is the one thing that really hurts me the most and stops me from living the way I want to live?
I guess not becoming what my grandparents wanted me to become. The things that they wanted for me weren't the things that I wanted for myself. And then, so I think that was where the crossroad came in. Me trying to please them so much, and in the process, I was dying inside.
Yes. So now, go ahead. See, I want you to stay in that space. That's the only reason I interrupted.
What if we stay in this space? I'm gonna start crying. So that's not.
Don't worry about it. No.
We got nothing but love for you here. Nothing but love. I just have nothing but love.
You see all the love you got. Look at that. You had almost 2,000 feels. They are really feeling you. So you are supported here. You are not alone. And that's the thing that a lot of us go through, especially when we start to look at depression and things of that nature. We start to feel that we are the only one experiencing this and no one cares and no one wants to help. And you don't want to share because you don't think they care. If they don't care, why would they help? So my thing is, you said that you weren't living the life you wanted to live. Now, what is the life that Tina saw for Tina? Not what your grandparents saw. What did you see for yourself? Oh my goodness.
It froze. Yeah, mine froze a little bit on this end. So I don't know if it's Blab or it's us. I froze a bit. So
okay, we lost her for a second.
Come back on.
Okay, Jonathan. What's up, my brother Jonathan?
Hey, what's up, man?
Another gypsy.
Yes.
Thank you for the compliment of my hair.
Oh yeah, I love it, man. It's wavy. It's very wavy.
Thank you. I'm coming back to the wavy look because Janet's bringing it back. Janet's bringing the curls back.
See, now, Jonathan, you know I got nothing but love for you, brother. You come up here to share a story with us and tell us a little something, because when TT comes back, I'm going to ask that we clear space for Sherry to come back, so that we can do a little work.
Do you want me? I'll be happy to step down. For that.
Oh, all right. Yeah.
I'll do that.
If you
I'll do that.
And start doing some crazy stuff.
Thank you. Sherry, would you come back and help? Because I think TT is back, and I think she'll come back up. I'm hoping she will.
Okay. Now, before we go any further, let me do the disclaimer, okay?
Yes.
I am working. I am talking as a coach, not a therapist. Yes. As a coach, okay. But I know Tina she may not be here, but she can still hear us, and I hope she does come back, because she made a huge step.
Yes.
And she may not, I don't think she realized what was going on until she said it out, that it all became clear. That and I thought it was amazing, Gerald, where you said, what's your biggest block? And I do a lot of kinetics in terms of where you look,
Yeah, me too.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. Okay. And she instantly went to sort of recalling and formulating. Okay. And I think it may have even surprised her that she was finally able to verbalize what was going on for her. Okay. So she may, she can still hear us, but she may have gone as far as she's able to go at this point.
Right now, exactly. I was going to say, I see she came back in the room. I saw it dropped completely at first. TT, are you willing to come back and share, or are you just going to stay on the side right now?
Let's just go on, because again, she's not under obligation to come on, but I at least wanted her to hear that she at least now is figuring it out for herself, okay? And because sometimes once you look it in the eye and say, that's what it is. Now, then you've got to go off sometime and just sort of digest it.
Right.
That's
Absolutely.
what it is. Okay. So we love you.
So that's why I wanted to tell her we're definitely supporting you.
Yeah, you're
absolutely.
And how did you come up with the name Another Gypsy? I'm gonna be nosy.
That's my band's name. I'm in a rock band, and that's our name. Another Gypsy.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Okay, cool. So, Jonathan, you want to share a story, and then I'm going to wrap it up. I'm going to close it out. I'll give a story, and we can go off the record. And anybody that wants to stay, we can talk off the record for a little while. But go ahead, Jonathan. Share something with us, brother.
Well, I guess mine's not more of a story, but I think it's more of a just a question at what the topic was from the beginning about, telling your story and making people feel your story and making people understand who you are as a person. I think that what I see a lot of people go through is actually feeling like their story is important to people. You know what I mean? And actually feeling like their story is valuable to other people's lives and don't want to be a burden to other people because they feel like their story might bring other people down. Because a lot of people go through a lot of things, and we feel like as if our story just may bring other people's lives down, may be a waste of time to other people, but not really feeling like our story can really change somebody, could really inspire somebody. And I think that's what I kind of wanted to touch on about, like, just the storytelling, just not feeling like our story is important enough.
Right, to tell. Right, like it doesn't matter because nobody wants to hear it, and that's a very valid point. Again, your pain and the things you have went through are there for a reason. And it's really not just all about you. It is partly about you because you have to become something different. And I know they joke with me and call me the Reverend and stuff, but I'm about to just touch on a little bit, just to God. Just because I believe in God, whatever you believe in, I feel you'll find your peace. So this is not about you converting to any religion or anything. This is my own thing. I believe that we do a lot of praying for God to change the situation when God has put us in a situation to change us, and you have to realize you're there for that reason so that you can grow and become more. That's how he molds you because of the challenges. Because of the things that you have that aren't going right. That's why you go through that. That's why you have to go through that, because you have to become something different. It's there so you can learn a lesson. So very good point. And once you go through those things and learn those lessons, you're able to help people now, because that struggle, that hurt, that challenge, that I won't call them problems. That challenge that was so difficult for you to go through, somebody can relate to. And it's somebody else's challenge right this very moment.
Right.
And how selfish of us to think that it's all about us.
But in a way, it's common that because we're sitting in this little space and we think that what's happening to me has not happened to anybody else, or what I'm going through, like you said, nobody wants to hear it. I'm going to throw out a phrase that I read, or quote I read recently, and it said, "I thank my struggles for helping me to define my strengths." I thank my struggles for helping me to find my strength. Because, we all want life to go swimming. And that's not how life works, okay? That, we go, in the Bible it says we go from glory to glory. Or someone else said, New level, new devil. New level, new devil. Okay, so every level has its challenges. And the thing that you have to keep in mind is that I tell people all the time, people are talking about, oh, I need mentors and this, that, and the other. And I can't find a mentor. You got somebody. Read a book or just listen to somebody. Everybody has a story to tell. It's just if you're willing to take the time to listen. Everybody is not going to be willing to take the time to listen. But you never know when you're going to run into somebody who needs to hear and wants to hear.
Yes.
So again, you don't necessarily want to throw pearls at swine. You know.
Absolutely not. Do not waste your pearls on swine.
Right. So everybody isn't going to want to hear, but you may run into somebody that you think, hey, you know, this is something I can share with them. And there's something about just that sharing that helps you and helps them. Okay, so yeah, we all have a story to tell because again, every time we reach that new level, there's a new devil. Going back to what Fred was saying, problems and obstacles. Okay?
Absolutely.
You know, so sometimes you're going to encounter a problem that you can find a solution for. Sometimes when you get to that new level, you're going to find it's an obstacle. It ain't going nowhere. So now what do I do? And just letting other people know how you handled it and finding the words. Because I notice a lot of kids say, you know what I mean? No, I don't know what you mean. So
I hate that. Yeah, that drives me insane.
Part of the reason why they say that is that they don't get a chance, sort of like we're doing right now, to verbalize what you're feeling. So that's why I really like the way you presented it. You laid it out there in a way that we could understand it. Okay. So if you could lay it out there to people you've never met before in real life, when you're standing in front of somebody, you'll be able to lay it out. Okay.
Absolutely. And I guess we're at 10 o'clock, so I'm going to shut this thing down. We'll go off the record, but I guess I'll close real quick, and I'm actually going to share a piece. Jonathan, thanks for coming up. It was great. I'll go ahead and share a poem. Thanks, Sherry, for coming up. And if anybody out there is going through something, you know, this poem was it was very personal to me, and I wrote it a few years back, and this isn't going to be a love piece for once. So I will share that actually off the record with you guys. And I thank you all for coming to Great O'Clock. I appreciate it. I appreciate you guys taking the time and choosing to spend the time with me, because I believe time is the most precious asset that we have, and you could have spent it anywhere with anybody, and you chose to spend these last 2 hours sharing and being part of a conversation that maybe changed somebody's life tonight. So I look forward to seeing you guys on Wednesday at Great O'Clock.